That is horrifying.
From concept to the complete picture, we're walking you through the process of creating Stranger Things' best, most practical villain yet, Vecna.
Before I kill you, I want you to watch.
Number 1. Read between the lines.
Stranger Things are casting. We need a tape by the end of the week.
Jamie was initially given sides for Primal Fear and Hellraiser, not the actual Stranger Things script. Having some understanding of the films already, Jamie knew that the character in Primal Fear presents two versions of himself.
There's this sort of sweet niceness to him, and then all of a sudden sort of comes this darkness.
So that's what Jamie did. Then the second tape, he got sides from the show.
Then it was Christmas, and I was waiting, watching my phone.
After New Year's, he got the email.
Matt and Ross really want to meet you. Get on a plane, come back to LA now.
Number 2. Evil genius much? Jamie's mapping out of the character for his second audition proved to be so in-depth and so close to what the creators had envisioned that it was almost uncanny.
Vecna is, chilling.
Jamie had such a strong sense of the character, there was no way the Duffers could have gone with another actor. He said, I went crazy for 2 days. In my apartment, I put a picture of Will Byers in the middle and then all the other characters around it, and then sort of made this Claire Danes-esque from Homeland mind map of who I thought this person was. I stepped back from it after 2 days and was like, that feels kinda good. So I took a picture and then I printed out all the pictures and put them in this little folder. Number 3. Perhaps the other Vecnas exist in alternate universes. Spin-off series, right? Vecna could have been a very different beast. From patchwork skin to vampires to fish to praying mantises to spiders, the inspiration came from everywhere, and we were left with some bone-chilling scrapped designs. The mantis is the coolest and closest to the Upside Down in that its chest and arms would have been able to split apart like the Demogorgons and Demodogs, while the creepiest was this guy. Number 4. Maybe the final design wasn't the coolest of them, but it was the closest to the show's aesthetic.
We are basically integrating lots of shapes and textures and forms from the Upside Down.
The final design was a nice mix of spider metaphors, translucent skin, rotting flesh, and kept the asymmetrical arm while still including all those elements of the Upside Down. Number 5. Of course, the full Vecna suit wasn't the only prosthetic Jamie was donning. There was also Dimension X Vecna. That was somewhere between Jamie and the final monster form. And when you've got A-list actors on big sets, you've also got doubles, doubling the time, prosthetics, and manpower to get the artists ready. Number 6. First comes the clay sculpture, then comes the molds. The plaster cast of Jamie's body was painted all over with a very important soap product. After it dried, they sculpted Vecna over the top in wax modeling clay. To make it easier to put on and take off the actor, they needed to divide their sculpture into different pieces and then create separate molds of each piece.
But to separate them, you need to submerge the whole body under water.
This is to reactivate that base soap layer they started with to get the plasticine off of the underlayer.
We bought this huge paddling pool, put it in our workshop, and it took a day to fill with water.
The sculpt had to be submerged the entire night to reactivate the soap. They then drilled holes into the back of the sculpture so the water could just pour right out. Then they could finally stand it back up, separate the pieces, and then create molds based on those pieces. Number 7. Living in the costume until filming wrapped may have been easier. The 8-hour process was whittled down to 6 hours and 20 minutes, at least to get the makeup on.
If it was a 7 a.m. crew call, he would have to come in at 1 a.m.
What?
It was a whole other 2 hours to get it off at the end of the day. Here's hoping Jamie could sleep through that, or he'd never sleep at all. His day started at 3 a.m. to be ready for 10 a.m. He and the makeup artists would all chill and listen to heavy rock music while the prosthetics were being applied, and Jamie would use the tone to get into character. Otherwise, he'd read a book and, on rare occasions, sip on coffee.
For me, I'm a small cog in a very, very big wheel.
Number 8. Paint me like one of your Vecnas, Barry. The concept art was great, but translating that to the real thing was a challenge. To find the right colors, they looked at different sea life and human bruises. They had an overwhelming number of colors to choose from, and reeling it in was hard.
We had to really hone it in to only a few
colors.
They settled on one makeup palette from Premier Products with 10 different colors, and that was it. Number 9. Gotta stay sticky. Jamie was just covered in lube and a wet-looking gel to give Vecna a glossy look every day. It would be 4 dudes who would have about 15 minutes to coat him with it, and people would come up and try and shake his hand and just regret it immediately. We can only wonder how Jamie feels under there. He was given dentures and contact lenses to finish it off.
We really put him through the mill. There wasn't anything else we could get on Jamie.
Number 10. Got your nose, Jamie. Not every part of Vecna could be practical, unfortunately. This isn't 2004's Spider-Man with Doc Ock. This is more like 2021's Doc Ock. Just let CGI handle the inhuman stuff. The living vines were added in post.
None of that was there, so that was kind of just like strain my arms and my neck to make it look like there was something wrapped around them.
That goes for not only Vecna's vines, but all the vines. Our heroes weren't jumping over anything. They were just jumping from tape mark to tape mark on the floor. It's like hopscotch over imaginary vines. It was also up to the VFX team to remove Jamie's nose. Number 11. The asymmetry of one large, distorted hand was a welcome challenge.
The first thing that I started to think about was the physicality of this person.
They had to reduce the length of the hand because the concept art looked fantastic, but in practice, the hand was coming off a bit comical. The next problem was when others were trying it out. After 5 minutes, they had hand cramps, but Jamie loved it and had no struggle. Number 12. That voice is all Jamie's baby.
I saw a means to realize my potential.
No voice alterations were necessary.
To transcend my human form.
But when he went in to do the ADR, the sound guy almost didn't believe that he wouldn't need alterations at all. Because it was hard to hear in the prosthetics, he struggled at first to re-find the voice that he'd worked on.
To become the predator I was always born to be.
Number 13. This character would be enough to stretch any actor. Vecna's not some sea creature from the deep.
His character is not chaos.
This is one very certain and attentive character. The only thing scarier than a chaotic villain is a calculated one.
The human element's gone.
And between Campbell's very early mind map and his strong understanding of the manipulative nature of Henry towards a young 11, he nailed the two-faced side of Henry and the outright terrifying Vecna. Number 14. Jamie was being that weirdo on set. He was wandering around, decked out in prosthetics, glaring at people, grunting and growling to stay in character.
He was kind of murmuring things under his breath, and you could tell he was definitely getting into the Vecna zone.
Jamie knew that this was an already very successful show before he came on board, so he knew to trust those in charge, encouraging them to let him know what he can do to be in service to the material, saying that he holds no ego. Number 15. Poor Jamie felt bad he was freaking out the young kids.
You feel so in the moment, which is, I felt like that was such a luxury.
Millie Bobby Brown had no idea that Vecna was practical this season, and it made her cry.
Bless her, she burst into tears.
But it kept her on her toes.
The fear was genuine, definitely, very real. I didn't have to act.
6+ hours in the makeup chair is enough to drive anyone mad. Do you think the design they landed on was the best, or would you have liked to see some more of the concept art at play? Let us know in the comments, and thanks for hanging out with us here at The Things.